Back to another album review. Today's review was on Nine Inch Nails' second album, The Downward Spiral, aka Halo 8. Redline is actually a concept album about the destruction of a guy at the beginning of his downward spiral, all the way to his death by suicide. And these themes were used in the album's lyrics. It was based on Trent Reznor's social issues at the time, since he was dealing with conflicts with band member Richard Patrick, who had an alcohol addiction back then. And while Trent was struggling with drug addiction and depression, leading him to write songs about his personal issues. This album was recorded between 92 and 93 at 3 different studios: Lake Pig in Benedict Canyon, the record plant in Hollywood, and A&M Studios in Hollywood. The album was mainly centered around industrial rock, industrial metal, heavy metal, alternative metal, hard rock, electronic rock, and ambient, with some elements of techno and electronic rock. So this album is a major contrast to Nine Inch Nails' first album. It was once again produced by Trent Reznor and Flood. It was released on March 8th of 94 under Interscope, Nothing Records, and TVT Records. This album did take some influences from rock albums of the late 70s, such as Low from David Bowie and The Wall from Pink Floyd. We're in line that this album was first conceptualized after the Lollapalooza festival tour, as Trent Reznor thought of a, quote, negative vibe felt by the band when they were in a hotel room. I also read that Nine Inch Nails performances were known for aggressive on-stage behavior, even going as far as to injure themselves and destroy instruments. The album itself does have a lot of nihilism, as well as themes of self-harm and self-control. This album has been described as being an autobiographical concept album with an overarching plot following the protagonist's descent into insanity, while dealing with religion, dehumanization, violence, disease, society, drugs, sex, and ultimately suicide. Judging by the description, you can clearly see that there's a lot of dark themes within the album. Now to talk about the songs. This album starts with Mr. Self-Destruct. The song essentially predicts the album's, quote, ugly aesthetic and angry tone. After the completion of the EP titled Broken, which I talked about last time, Trent Reznor wrote a poem that would later evolve into the prototype for the song. The opening has a sample from the movie THX 1138, where a prisoner gets his ass kicked by a prison guard while being flanked. The lyrics also introduce the listener to the protagonist, who calls himself the voice inside your head, represents urges of sexuality, powers of addiction, and inescapable feelings of guilt and fear, while demonstrating violent sociopathic tendencies. The song also features Adrian Belew on the texture generating guitar. I actually really like the song, and we're just getting started. After that is Piggy, which was released as a promotional single in December of 94. This is one of the songs on the album that were recorded at Lake Pig. Oddly enough, Trent Reznor moved to a house in 92 that became infamous for the Tate murders that were carried out by the Manson family. And Trent ended up creating a studio in this house, which later became known as Lake Pig. The name is a reference to the word pig, which was written in Sharon Tate's blood after she was murdered. This in itself was a reference to the song Piggies by the Beatles, which later introduced Trent to the Beatles' White Album. The next song is called Heresy, which is not to be confused with the Pantera song of the same name, because it's a completely different song. After that is March of the Pigs, aka Halo 7, which was released as a single on February 25th, 94. That was a couple of weeks before the album was released. Apparently the song has a BPM of 269, so it's a very fast-paced song. The song received a music video that was directed by Peter Christopherson. It's a minimalist music video featuring the live band that Trent assembled for the then upcoming Self-Destruct tour, which had drummer Chris Renna, keyboardist James Woolley, guitarist Robin Fink, and bassist Danny Lohner. I'm gonna post a link to the video in the description. I also need to mention that the video was actually featured on Beavis and Butthead. The next song is called Closer, aka Halo 9, which was released as a single on May 30th, 94. I already mentioned the genres that this album touches upon, though the song also has elements of funk and avant-garde. The lyrics focus on self-hatred and obsession. 2003 was when VH1 ranked the song as number 3 on their list of the 100 greatest songs of the past 25 years. AOL even placed it as number 2 on their list of the 69 sexiest songs of all time. And I find it appropriate that the list has 69 entries. The song had a music video that was directed by Mark Romanek. It was filmed in April of 94 and premiered on May 12th of the same year. The video does contain a lot of sexual and controversial imagery. In mid-2002, the video was shown on MTV and MTV2 as part of a countdown showcasing the most controversial music videos ever shown on MTV. Though the countdown was only aired at night. I'm going to post a link to the video in the description. I also need to add that the song has a reputation for being Nine Inch Nails' most popular song. Ruiner comes after that, and the song is pretty memorable. The Becoming is after that, and the song has a sample of screams playing throughout. Samples from the movie Robot Jox, where a giant robot falls onto a crowd of spectators. I Do Not Want This is the next song. It features Stephen Perkins doing the drum loops. That's followed up by Big Man with a Gun, which is the shortest song on the album at only 96 seconds long. A Warm Place and Eraser are after that. The next song is called Reptile, which has a sample of audio of a woman falling down from a hill from the film Texas Chainsaw Massacre. At that is The Downward Spiral, which obviously shares the same name as the album. The album ends with the song Hurt, which was released as a promotional single on April 17th, 95. The song in particular contains references to heroin addiction and self-harm, considering the fact that the song's overall meaning is debatable. The song did get a music video that's just a live performance in Omaha, Nebraska on February 13th, 95. I'll post a link to the video in the description. The song was also played at the very end of the Rick and Morty episode, The Wedding Squanchers. The year 2002 was when Johnny Cash did a cover of the song. It became a financial and critical success, as well as being one of Johnny Cash's last hits before his death. Trent Reznor even praised the cover, even going as far as to say, quote, "That song isn't mine anymore." One thing I need to mention is that there's also a deluxe edition of this album containing a second disc with bonus tracks and demos. And as you can see, this version doesn't have the second disc, just the regular disc. From what I read, is that this album was met with very high praise from critics. Even retrospective critics gave it near perfect reviews. This album also debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200. It was eventually certified quadruple platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. This album was even included in the 2005 book, 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die, and rightfully so. Overall, I highly recommend this album. And in fact, I still consider it to be the greatest album that Nine Inch Nails have ever done, even to this day. If I were to do a list of the best albums of the 90s, you can guarantee that this album will make the list. And that's all I have to say on this album. If you like the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And be sure to hit the notification bell to be notified of future uploads. Leave a comment if you like. Thanks for watching. I'll be back on Saturday with another review.